Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone is keeping well. It is my fourth live stream, and I've even managed to get the picture around the right way today so you can actually read what's on my t-shirt. You say beer belly, I say father figure. So my kids really hold me in high regard. Hope everyone is keeping well. I just want to start off today's live stream by saying a massive, massive, massive thank you to everyone. We have hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I am over the moon. I love doing this. I love doing the YouTube videos. I love creating content for you guys, and it's really, really amazing that I've got 1,000 people who are supporting the channel, who subscribe to the channel and like the content. It really does blow me away. So thank you, thank you, thank you, each and every one. I am going to do a plugin giveaway as a celebration of hitting the 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to be at the moment, but there's going to be full details within the next week or so, so keep out an eye out for those details in due course. So lots to get through today. If you have any mastering related questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I say I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. This is the monthly live Q&A, so any mastering or audio related questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And I'm also going to be doing an overview of the Fat Channel XT plugin by Presonus. And some people might be thinking, why are you doing this? You featured this in some of your videos before. Yes, I have. So for those of you who use Studio One, you have the Fat Channel XT plugin as standard as part of the professional software or sphere. But the Fat Channel XT plugin is also available in a third-party version in VST3, AU and AAX formats. So for those who don't use Studio One, and I know a lot of you guys out there who, like me, also love Reaper, this is a plugin that's available for you, and at the moment through Plugin Boutique until the end of this month, it is free with any purchase. So I'll show you some more details on that very soon. So just a couple of things. Firstly, I hope everyone can hear me okay. I've got everything. I hope they've got everything set up. Everything seems to be streaming through okay. I'm just going to quickly, while we're on here, I'm going to quickly flick over to, okay, so that all looks fine. So we've got, okay, brilliant. So all YouTube is looking fine now. So where are we going to start today? So just a couple of things before we get into the Fat Channel XT details. And first and foremost, this is just an information thing around YouTube ads. And from the 1st of June, the UK fell in line with the United States in that YouTube start to apply ads to any channel, regardless whether you're in the partnership program or not. So for a lot of the smaller channels under 1,000 subscribers, etc., beforehand, if you weren't in the partnership program because you didn't meet the criteria, you wouldn't be able to have ads placed on your channel and therefore earn ad revenue. But YouTube have changed the terms and conditions. So from the 1st of June in the UK, YouTube now will be able to place ads on those smaller channels. It doesn't mean that the smaller channels get any of the ad revenue, but if you do see on any of my videos that there are some adverts, then it's just because the YouTube terms and conditions have changed, and they now have the ability to apply adverts on any channel regardless of size. So that's that, just to kind of more of a info and awareness piece there. The mix and mastering critique service on Fiverr, it is now live, and I'm going to leave some. I'll leave some links. I'll do it later. So at the end of the stream, I'll put some links in the comments down below. So this is basically, I'm offering a mixing and mastering critiquing service. So I've been doing a lot of critiquing, and this is just a more of a formalised service, and there are different ranges. So it can be just anything from a written critique up to we can do a live one-to-one session or a video critiquing service. I really want this to be a real value added service. So if you really want to use my services to use my ear, so to speak, and give you an opinion on any particular things that you may be able to change or adopt, or any particular techniques that I can think that may help you take your songs to the next level. And that's a service. It's all through Fiverr.com. And I'm going to quickly, I'll tell you what, I'll do it now because I know what I'm like. I will soon forget. Okay, so let's just quickly do this. Okay. And if I go back here. So if anyone wants any information on the mixing and mastering critiquing service, it's all done through Fiverr.com, and it's, as I say, all the details are on there. And if anyone wants to support the channel, once again, this is no obligation to do so, but any support that we get as content creators is greatly appreciated. And once again, I do have the account through buymeacoffee.com. Once again, it's no obligation. I don't do this to make money, but any support that we can get will all go towards buying different gear and things like that for, you know, for you guys, to show you guys what the good gear is, what the not so good gear is, and what's going to be worth buying. So anything that we raise through these types of things will be greatly appreciated. And I've got the account here through buymeacoffee.com, mastering ITB. So if anyone does want to support the channel, the link is in the description there as well, it's in the comments. So that's it. That's all the salesy bit. Now let's get into the Fat Channel XT. So I'm just going to switch over here and quickly minimize that. Okay. So what is the Fat Channel XT? Well, the Fat Channel XT is a channel strip plugin. So the first question you might be asking, Smudge, why are you featuring a channel strip plugin on a mastering live stream? And that's because this isn't any ordinary channel strip plugin. So this is not based on a standardized channel strip that you may find from a particular analog piece or a analog mixing console. This is very much a bespoke channel strip in the basis that you can very much use different modules, is the easiest way to put it. So for example, this is the Fat Channel XT here, and we have the high pass filter section, we have a gate, and we have the compression module, and we have an equalizer module, and then finish off with a limiter. But the compressor modules and the equalizer modules are interchangeable, and you can change them out for different analog emulations. So for example, in the standard Fat Channel XT plugin, we have the standard compressor, which is this one here, or we have a tube compressor, which is once again very popular style of compressor, and we also have the effect compressor, which is this one here. Once again, it's another very popular style compressor. So unlike some other standard channel strips, this is very much kind of build your own channel strip based on what type of compression and EQ elements you want. And the same with the equalizer here. So we have pretty much the stock equalizer options here, and then we have the additional options of we have a passive EQ, and we also have a vintage EQ. So very much kind of like looking like the kind of the Neve-esque type analog emulations here. So this isn't just a standard channel strip. This is very much a bespoke module-based system that you can really craft to your desire. And I just find it so versatile, and I love the sound of it. And I love Studio One. I also love Reaper, and I think both of them are fantastic DAWs, and probably the two best DAWs on the market at the moment. And when I'm in Reaper, there are certain things that I miss from Studio One and vice versa, and this is a great option to allow some of those emulations from Presonus, where you can use them inside of Reaper and other DAWs. So this plugin is available in VST3, AU and AAX format. So another reason why I'm featuring this particular plugin, because at the moment this plugin is available for free through Plugin Boutique with any purchase up until the 30th of June. So if we just have a quick look here at I'm just going to quickly flick over to the browser, and I've closed the browser like an absolute numpty. So let's quickly go here to the Plugin Boutique website. And here we are. So claim your free copy of Presonus Fat Channel XT. It's the award-winning channel strip, and it ends on the 30th of June. It's free with any purchase. Okay, this is the stock version, so you'll get the compressor units, which are the standard tube and FET, and you'll get the EQ, which are the standard passive and vintage. But there are additional add-ons which you can pay for if you want them at a later date. Now, just so go through the details of how it actually works. So you just need to register for a Plugin Boutique account. You have to pay for a product, so it's not valid on free products, but it just says don't use virtual cash or a coupon for the full amount of the transaction. Any amounts less than 100% is still okay though. So what's this mean? You could get a plugin which is worth, say, £5. If you've got a Plugin Boutique account already and you've got £4 in virtual cash, buy a plugin for £1 and get this plugin for free. So it's a really, really cost-effective way of getting hold of this plugin, and it really is great. It does say you cannot resell your copy, which I think is fair enough. You're getting this for free, and you can claim one copy only per person. And as I say, it's a really great plugin. Just to say it's VST free, AU and AAX compatible. It's compatible with Studio One 4.6 and higher. And as I say, it's available for any DAW that allows use of VST free, AU or AAX. Very modest system requirements. It's not too taxing on the CPU. I actually love it for that, because it's not that taxing and very easy to do. So I say it's available for free with a purchase. Have a look. Plugin Boutique have always got deals on, and if you go through, I'm sure you could find a deal for, dare I say it, you can find one for less than £5 on some of these things. So have a look, and it's really, really worth getting. So up until the 30th of June, and there are add-ons, and I'll come on to that a little bit later, so let's just quickly minimise that. So I want to quickly go through a particular song now, and the song that I'm going to feature is the song called Get Down by Nick Graveswell, and this is a song that I mastered back in 2019. It was a song from the album, or the EP, Songs to Drink To, and I'm also going to leave links at some point to the Spotify, so I'll do that towards the end of the live stream. So if you want to check out the full master version, then I'll leave links in the comments section. So keep an eye out for that, and it's a great track. Let's take a brief listen to it now. All I've done is I've run this through. I'm going to quickly bypass this here. I'll put a limiter on, just kind of bring this up to some form of I say commercial loudness. It's just somewhere around -13 lufs, just kind of bring it up to loudness. So let's take a listen. This is the mixed track with the limiter only. So it's a great song. It's got that real kind of bluesy rock type vibe, which is really, really cool. And I had great fun mastering this EP. He's got some really good songs on there. And I say he's a really talented guy. He's based out of the southeast of the UK, and I'll leave some links in there, so check that out. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take a brief listen here. And I kind of want to just do this more of a like an ad hoc type mastering. I didn't really want to kind of think too much back to how I did the master in the original one, which is kind of do some things here in real time. And yeah, we'll go from there really. High pass filter. We have a high pass filter option here. It can be quite useful. I don't tend to do too much high passing when it comes to mastering. I know when people say, well, you should high pass, you should take everything up below 20 hertz or below, yes, if we was doing stuff for vinyl, there's very much kind of a use case for taking out a lot of low end. But if there's not too much kind of rumble down there, and if it's been mixed well, I don't always use a high pass filter because I don't always find it necessary, especially with digital releases. You know, when it comes to vinyl mastering, it was very much a case of if you had too much low end or it wasn't kind of in the center, and if it was uncontrolled and you had problems with the needle and it was kind of cutting the vinyl, etc. But we're looking very much kind of a digital release here, so we'll have a high pass filter. We can use a high pass filter if we want to. Very simple, just literally move it up to where you want it, and that's it. And it lets all the high passes through, and it will cut off some of that low lows. We'll just leave it at 25 hertz. I'm not going to use the gate because I don't particularly use a gate for anything. There's no real need for a mastering. It does have an expander option, so if you do get into your expanding, then that's an option there if you want it. So it's kind of just giving you an idea how you can use this. This is also a very good tool for those mixers. I could just imagine this being a great tool for drums, a drum bus, that kind of thing. So let's have a quick look at the compressor then. So as I say, we've got some different options here, and it's all done at the top. So you'll see this bar at the top. We've got this little box here, and this basically collapses all of the units, or you can expand all the units. So you can have it in a full channel strip or individual modules. And you just click on the individual modules and they change based on what you want. I prefer to see it in the full channel strip just because I think it looks a bit more pleasing that way. And then you can have the compressor before and after the EQ, and you just literally click this button and it just changes it around. It's as simple as that, and it moves the modules. So EQ before or compressor before, entirely up to you. For mastering, I really like to get the dynamics in place first. So I tend to do some compression before I go into an EQ. EQ is very much more, in my opinion, I use it more towards, I don't want to say fixing, but it's more enhancing. I like to get the dynamics in place first, so I like to get a good balance before I then start to do anything with the EQ. One of the reasons for this is, once again, when you've got a culmination of different frequencies all put together, so you've got different instruments and they're all together in a stereo track, when you compress, you're still going to have those different variances in the waveform. So when you start to put some general compression, you will have all sorts of different frequencies at different levels, and the compression will compress some, bring some up. So it doesn't really make sense to me to start to EQ before compression in a mastering contents if you're looking to kind of get some nice gentle compression first. So I like to get a good bass and then go from there. In terms of the compressor I'm going to use, I'm going to start with a standard compressor, and the reason I'm going to start with the standard compressor is this. I love a low ratio, and when you use some of these analog emulations, if you look here at the FET, you have a minimum level of 4:1, or you could use the tube. And once again, you don't really have a you don't use this one on a ratio basis, but this would also be good for limitings because it's a limiting kind of amplified tube compressor, so there's lots to work with here. But for this particular example, I'm just going to go with the standard because I like a nice gentle, about 1.6:1 really seems to work well for me. Relatively fast attack, relatively slow release. So what this is going to do is this is going to clamp down on the transients relatively quickly, but it's not going to release them too quickly. So it's actually going to give you a nice gentle compression. And then what we can then do is use the threshold and reduce the threshold until we get a little bit of gain reduction, and we can use the makeup gain just to kind of make up any difference. A good thing with this as well is you've got a key filter. So a key filter is pretty much going to be how you start to, or the frequencies in which you start to trigger the compression. So the key filter effectively can take out a certain frequency, I don't want to say band, but it is almost a band. It can start taking out that band so it doesn't start to trigger the compressor. So to put this in some kind of typical context here, if we start to play the track, so what this is doing is basically saying the key filter isn't gonna, the all the frequencies below 101.2 Hertz won't trigger the compressor. And you can use the key listen function here to really hone in on that real low lows. So if you've got a real heavy low end bass tracks, if you're doing some form of, let's say, hip hop or EDM or something like that, and there's a load of bass, and you don't want the bass to start triggering the compressor, you can use the key filter function to really hone in so the other frequencies are starting to trigger the compression rather than the low frequencies. It's quite a good function here, so it's quite a versatile little compressor. But just for this, let's take this out for a second, and we're just going to go through. I'm going to reduce the threshold, get a little bit of gain reduction, and let's take a good listen and see what we're doing with it. Okay, so the kind of things I'm listening for here is when I'm applying some general compression in a mastering context, I'm looking for that cohesion. I'm looking for some more, it's probably some more depth, some more body, and it's just really kind of getting that combined sound that we know and love from the releases that we love over the years. And the mastering compression, if you've got particular elements, so if you've got, say, high elements that aren't particularly loud enough, or it's too heavy in the low end, or you want to kind of bring up the mids, just a little bit of gentle compression in mastering can really just kind of make everything gel a bit more. And what I'm hearing with the compression in this particular instance is it's starting to bring up the kind of the low mids from the guitars. It's making them a bit more present. It's adding some more warmth without adding too much low end, but it's also bringing a little bit of top end with the vocal as well. So let's bypass it and I'll engage it, and let's just take another listen with the compressor on. So it's just a good way of getting some more overall weight and balance to a track. I'm not looking to do it too much with the compression here. We've got a little bit of gain reduction with the limiter, so we're already going to get some compression with the limiter. So using a standard, I'd say, broadband compressor in this way with a low ratio, it's going to be very gentle, and it's just going to really start to bring everything together to kind of get that more cohesive sound. So that's something I like to do with the compressor. And if we could do that first, we can then start to hear if there's anything that we may need to kind of consider with the EQ. So let's just go a little bit more into the track, play a bit more, and then we'll just do a quick before and after. So it's certainly adding that extra body. I could already tell it's starting to add a little bit of harshness to the high ends. That's something we're going to need to have a look at in this particular session. And it's just really refining it. Maybe a little bit of honkiness for those guitars as well. That's another thing that I'm kind of hearing. So I like what the compressor's doing. It's starting to bring everything up, and it's starting to really kind of gel everything, but it is starting to also highlight some areas which you may need to kind of look at with some EQ. So without further ado, we're going to head on over to the EQ. In fact, I'm going to go and have a quick look, see if there's any questions first and foremost. Okay, nothing on there. Okay, cool. So let's get back on over to the door capture, minimize that, and let's have a look at the EQ. So EQ, once again, we have a few different options here, and we can go for the standard, the passive, or the vintage. Now the standard is a 4-band EQ, but you have a bit of a choice here. So you can use the low band as a low shelf. You can use the high frequency as a high shelf, or you can have them in very much in band mode or bell mode. So if you just use it as standard, you can pretty much just move it there. The bottom end is rolled off because we've got the 25 Hz high pass filter, but you can use this as to how you wish. So if you wanted to use it as a shelf, you can use it in that way. I'm not going to do that in this particular instance, so let's just take that out for a second. One thing I really noticed was the honkiness. So that for me is going to be around about the 600 to 800 Hertz. So let's use, okay, let's use the low mid frequency here. And I'm just going to do this because I want to I may want to kind of free up some of these here. So let's play the track and let's see if we can take out some of that honkiness. Just there, it's nice. It's just taking out some of that kind of really horrible nasal sound that that I certainly get because I've broken my nose far too many times. But it's just taking out some of that harshness from that nasal frequency and just kind of give it a little bit more definition. Now, when it comes to distorted guitars and the bass and the kick, now there's generally quite a lot of mud down there, but it depends on where we're going to approach this. There's a few ways to look at this. Do we look to kind of emphasize the bass guitar, and do we kind of look to clear some space with the kick, or do we look to maybe take away some of the mud from the electric guitars, which is going to maybe allow the bass guitar to breathe? So let's take a bit of a listen to that now. So what I really want to do is start to get a little bit more clarity in that low end, take a bit of the mud out, and we're going to see whether we can take away some of that mud from the low end of the guitars to let the bass breathe, or do we go down a little bit further and maybe enhance a certain frequency to give the bass guitar some kick and allow the kick to breathe as well. So let's take a bit of a listen. Let's see what we can do. Okay, I actually quite like a little boost, around about 150. I just felt it sounded, it just kind of give the bass a little bit more kind of a bit of oomph. I think it's kind of one of those things you have to make a little bit of compromise somewhere, especially when you're looking at an EQ. If we was going to maybe, I mean, we could apply 2 or 3 EQs and maybe kind of look to do a little cut here and a little boost here. But I want to try and keep this a little bit simple and just trying to you know, sometimes it's good just to make a little bit of a compromise and try and enhance certain things rather than cutting out too much. And I actually feel that by cutting a little bit out at around 300, I feel we get a little bit more for our money by giving the 150 a bit of a boost, because it's starting to bring out that bass guitar a bit more, and I like that. It gives that kind of, the kick is very, I don't want to say it's punchy, but it's very defined under the 100 hertz. So I think just by giving that bass a little bit more room above the 100 hertz, I think it just kind of adds a little bit more to the song. So let's take another listen there. Okay, I'm quite liking that where that is there. So, I think we'll stick with that for the time being. Relatively gentle cue. I didn't want to kind of do too, you know, quite too wide a band there, and it's a 2.25 dB boost at 156 hertz. Once again, just to kind of reiterate, when it comes to mastering, we're not looking at, you know, reinventing the wheel. We're doing gentle moves. We're looking at gentle enhancements. So we're not going to do anything too crazy here. Yes, so to kind of keep it nice and simple. Let's just have a quick look here at the. There's something with the vocal. I know it's got a lot of high. The track has got a lot of high end anyway. So what I'm thinking is maybe we'll get another compressor in a second, because what I want to do is almost kind of think about a multi-band compression using just the top band, and almost use it kind of like a de-esser, kind of just tame some of those high frequencies. So I think we're going to add that in conjunction with this. But I'm just thinking, is there something else that we can just do to take away a little bit of the, I don't want necessarily harshness, but there is just kind of a little bit, we kind of just make it stand out a little bit more. So let's see what we can do with the vocal. Okay, I think I'm hearing something just a little bit nicer around there, but that 2K is really harsh. And it's, as with anything, when you start to boost a lot of frequencies, it is going to sound harsh because you're boosting a harsh frequency. I just think when we boosted around the 2K, let's just go back there. When I boosted a little bit, it sounded really harsh, but when I started to take a bit out as well, it started to take away some of the energy from the track. He says that, and then go and do it again. Actually, it sounds quite nice to me. It's just taking out some of that. It's clearly it's that we've got the honkiness from the guitars, but there's quite a bit of harshness in there in the 2K range. And actually, just by replaying with it, we're only taking out 1.08 dB, but just playing with the Q and actually give it a little bit more of not too wide, but give a little bit more of a wider cue as well. Just kind of it just allows it to be a little bit more natural. It's not sounding forced, and I just think it kind of gives it a little bit more of a better balance. So once again, let's take a listen to the track. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to bypass the whole plugins. This is the compression and the EQ and the high pass filter. Let's take it out. Let's put it back in and do a quick before and after. She wants me. We dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Okay, I like where we're going with that, and it's just a few gentle moves here. So we're only doing a little bit of the compressor, we've got the limiter on the master, and we've got some gentle EQ moves there, just kind of giving it a little bit, just taming it a little bit in certain areas and give it some more, I think just more consistency overall, I think is the aim of the game here. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to just go in, I'm going to add another plugin, because I want to just tame some of that behind, and let's go for the trusty AAX comp. And what I want to do with this, I'm going to bypass the bottom 3 bands. We've got band 4. Okay, let's just do around there. She wants me. We dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover. Soon to discover tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to the beat, I lose my way fast. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. I'm not sure. See, it's trying to get something that's going to just take a little bit of the edge off, but I don't want anything too drastic, and I just don't know if that's the right tool for the job. Let's have another look and see what I might do. Let's just have a quick look here. Okay, I haven't got that installed. Okay, let's have a look at the old trusty C4. Okay, that sounds a bit better there actually. So actually just raising the frequency up to around 8.5k. Now, I've got it in bypass mode, but we can just solo the bands. We can really hear where we're getting a lot of that kind of that hissiness from those hats. So now let's unbypass and let's have a quick look here. It's already on a relatively fast attack. So let's put it, so around 5. What have we got for the release here? Okay, so it's on top of the release. Let's kind of, oh no, okay, so we got that. So let's do something around, okay, let's do something around, we're going to play with this and let's just see what's going to come with it. She wants me, we dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. I quite like that where it is. It's very subtle, very gentle. But the thing is, when you start pushing, if you start to push it too much, you're just going to start getting that pumping. You don't want that pumping or that ducking. It doesn't sound nice, and I just like it where it is. It's taking just that real kind of top edge off. So I think that's basically, yeah, I think that's kind of done the trick there. So that's, I think in a nutshell, I don't really want to kind of start going too much more. Let's try. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to go back to the Fat Channel because this is very much kind of a Fat Channel XT feature. Let's have a listen to some of the other EQ and compressor modules and see what we can do with that. So let's first and foremost, let's go with the tube. So I'm not going to use this in limit mode, we use it in comp mode. We've got the peak reduction here and the gain function here. So the way that this particular module is going to work is you're going to use the peak reduction and the gain to kind of offset one another, so you get a good balance on the volume overall. So let's take a listen. She wants me, we dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. Hey baby, let's get down.
to discover tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to the beat.
So I like what that's actually doing. So whereas beforehand we started to, I'm going to quickly bypass this EQ because I want to hear for that bass guitar. So it's really kind of giving some more additional warmth in the low end. And whereas we use the EQ here to kind of emphasise some of the bass guitar, I don't necessarily know how much we'd need that with this particular compressor. Let's take another listen now with the EQ bypassed.
She wants me. We dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover, soon to discover tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move.
Yeah, I mean, I actually quite like the sound of that with the same EQ settings. I think this is kind of, it's a real, I love these style of compressors. To me, they seem to be, I want to kind of say it's a little bit more kind of tactile. It kind of, it's less worried about attack and release and your ratios and these. It's very kind of, okay, let's get the gain, let's balance it with the, or use the peak reduction to get the desired reduction. So I'm only looking once again 1 to 2 dBs worth of gain reduction, and let's use the gain to kind of use the makeup and then make sure we're getting a good balanced sound, so we're kind of gain staging as we go. And I like what it's doing. It's certainly adding some more warmth and body. I really like that one. Let's take a quick look at the FET compressor. So this is going to be a little bit different because we've got attack and release settings, but very much kind of along the same kind of lines. You've got the input and output, and we're very much going to be looking to balance rather than using a threshold. With this, we're a little bit more restricted in terms of ratio. So you've got 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1, and 20 to 1. So let's just go, or you can even do all if you want to really kind of smash it, but I wouldn't really recommend that on a master. So let's do 4 to 1, and let's just have a bit of a play. So I want to do, once again, a relatively fast attack, relatively slow release, and let's see what we can do. With this, I generally will need to look at boosting the input, and then we'll kind of reduce the output. Let's have a look.
She wants me. We dance together 'cause the music's right. Turn it up, make some magic tonight. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover, soon to discover tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to the beat, I lose my way fast. Hey baby, let's get down tonight. Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight.
I don't like that one. It's not that it's not a good compressor, it's just not the tool for the job. Notice when I started to play with the key listen function, as I boosted the key listen, the compressor stopped working. Let's take another look.
Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's
So it's a lot of the low end is kind of picking up, and it's really triggering this compressor. I think it's the 4:1 ratio, it's just too much. I much prefer a gentler 2:1, 1.6:1, 2:1, that kind of thing. This would be great for, I think it'd be really good for like a drum bus, but I just don't think for this particular song it's adding anything particularly it's not adding anything particularly great to the track. So I'm going to go back to the tube. Let's have another quick listen with the tube.
Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover. Soon to discover.
Yeah, it's just less. It doesn't sound as if it's squashing or pumping. It just sounds a bit more really quite more natural. So let's just go with that one. Go with the flow on that one. So let's have a quick look at the EQs then. So we've got the passive, and let's just say this is very much kind of, you've got, you know, you very much kind of got a high and a low frequency with this one. You do have some attenuations. That's going to be like I don't actually know what this is actually. Is this like a interesting answers on the postcard? If you know what this does, let me know in the chat. So you've got this here, so you've got a low frequency 20, 30, 60 and 100 hertz, and you can either boost or attenuate. And then you've got, once again, you've got 3K, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12 and 16, and you can boost and attenuate. So let's have a quick listen to this and see what we can do with the EQ.
Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover. Soon to discover. Tattoos on her body like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move as she moves to the beat, I lose my way fast.
Interesting. So it's obviously adding a lot of warmth, but to me it's adding too much low end to those guitars, and it's just making it sound really, probably a bit too much. And we're only literally a 0.4 of a boost, so it's not really much at all. Let's have a quick look. See, I'm just thinking, let's go for somewhere around 3K. Let's see if we can do a bit of an attenuation.
Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover. Soon to discover. Tattoos on her body like a map of the past.
That would be great if you want to add some overall general warmth, but for me it's just too much in this particular example. I think that's something you probably, you want to use that quite, you don't want to go over the top with it, and it's something, if you're really kind of lacking some low end warmth, that would be great, because you don't have to do too much and it really kind of warms up the track. But for me with the guitars it kind of adds too much. And once again, with a high frequency, I think for this particular track there's not really a great deal that we can do with it. Now these particular types of plugins, this would complement something like a Baxendale EQ really quite well, because then you could use the Baxendale as kind of like your passes or your filters, and you could use this kind of as a more featured low and high boost in certain areas to kind of complement some of those cuts and the lows or highs. But once again, in this particular circumstance, I don't think it's really adding anything to the track. So let's have another look at the vintage, and I think we'll probably get a little bit more joy with this one. So when we had a listen earlier on, we wanted, so we got a few options here. Is basically what I'm saying is we can either boost something of the kick, or we can boost something of the bass. We can take out some of the harshness at 360, and then we can look to do something with the highs as well. So let's have a little play and see what we can do with this one.
Take each other to paradise. Body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's to uncover, soon to discover. Tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to.
So we got much more versatile with this one. That's just taking out some of that honkiness out around 700. It's just kind of just taking some of that real kind of out of the track. So we're quite happy with that one. I want to see what we can do around 220.
Tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to the beat, I lose my way fast.
I'm liking that. Actually, it's kind of giving that boost, that bit of a kick that we were searching with the standard EQ. It's taken out a lot of that harsh honkiness, and we've been able to kind of use that 220, a slight kind of boost at 1.76 dB, and it's kind of giving that bass some more definition there.
Take each other to paradise, body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover.
Okay, let's have a quick look here, see what we're going to do with the high mids.
Take each other to paradise, body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover, soon to discover. Tattoos on her body, like a map of the past. But the way she makes them move, as she moves to the beat, I lose my way.
Okay, I'm just playing with it for the sake of playing with it, really. Okay, I actually quite like that. I say I don't really feel we need to kind of do too much there with the high mids on this one. We've got a little bit of the 2.72 dB cut at 700 Hz, and we've got a little bit of 1.76 dB boost at 220. Let's quickly bypass.
Take each other to paradise, body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover, soon to discover. Tattoos on her body.
It's amazing just with those couple of little modules here with that tube comp, with that vintage EQ, how much warmth it adds to the overall track, just with those two modules there. Really quite nice. I quite like that. Last thing I want to quickly show you before we go back to the Q&A, because I've been waffling on for an hour going through this. I just want to quickly show you this limiter. Now, I wouldn't particularly use this all the time, and I probably wouldn't use it in this particular example because we're then going to limit it going into the multiband compressor. But let's say, for example, you wasn't using this multiband compressor and you had this stealth limiter here. When I looked at this earlier on, if I look at my metering, my true peak max was 0.7. Now that's probably going to be a little bit inflated because we've been boosting some of the EQs, but it was coming into around about minus 0.8, minus 0.9. Okay, no real big shakes there, but if we really wanted to be quite religious with that -1 true peak level, what we could actually do is we could leave this limiter doing what it's doing, and we could use this limiter here as a somewhat, or kind of almost like a pre-limiter going into the final limiter.
Take each other to paradise, body shaking till the morning light. Hey baby, let's get down tonight as we start to uncover, soon to discover. Tattoos on her body, like a map of the past.
You see what it's doing? It's literally just catching the peaks. So you could use this going into your final limiter, and then what you would find is if you had started to have a lot of issues where your main limiter wasn't quite catching all of the peaks you wanted to, this could be a great little option as well. So you could use your compressor and your EQ to do some more of your finer moves, and then use the limiter to kind of control some of the dynamics going into your final limiter as well. So that's all I want to show you today. It's just a very kind of brief overview. There's so many uses for this, and as I say, it's not your standard channel strip. It's very much kind of, you can bespoke it, and you can, very much you can get some more of these different modules. With some of the Presonus stuff as well, you can get add-ons. So you've got like a brick compressor, you've got a classic 160, an Everest FC6670, the Tube, these VT1 comps. I love these. These are the Presonus own compressors. They are amazing. I say these are just great options. You can add lots of these different modules. Same with the EQs as well. So you've got so many different options. You've got the Alpine, a Baxendale Star, RC500, a Solar, Tube, and there's a vintage free band and the VT1 EQ as well. So I really like this one. So you've got lots of different options, as well as putting your high and low frequencies in peak mode. So lots of different additional add-ons there as well. So check it out. It's free. Don't forget, it's free until the 30th of June with any purchase through Plugin Boutique, and you don't have to spend a lot. Go have a look. I think it's worth just getting one of the deals they've got. Just buy one of their value plugins just to get a copy of this, because this is really good. It's versatile, and if you like it, you like what it does, you can start to expand it over time. The expansions aren't particularly they're not that particularly expensive. I think they're around about the £20-25 mark for a module, but you can get them in sets for just a little bit more, and they come in sets of three or four different modules, and they're split between the compressors and the EQs. So I think it's really worth checking out. So I hope you found this been useful, and let's go back and let's see if there are any questions. Okay. Hi Shango, hope you're well. Okay. Nothing on the question front. Cool, blimey, you lot are quiet tonight. Okay, oh, don't want that. Okay, so does anyone have any questions at all? Let me ask a question of you folks then. What have you tried a channel strip in your mastering? And if you have, what channel strip have you tried using? How do you get on with it? Okay, no questions, no answers. Very quiet night tonight. Okay, well, if there's no questions coming through, then we'll wrap up in a little while. I just want to leave it open just a little bit more, just to see if anyone does want to ask any questions. I'm going to leave some links in the description or in the chat where you can find I'll leave this Spotify link for Nick. As he's a great artist, really good top bloke. Songs to drink to. I had such fun mastering that EP. Billy is a great song. It was kind of the first song we did on the EP, and it was kind of like the feature song, which was really good. I'd really recommend you check that one out. And I'll leave links in the description down below. Make sure you check out the Fat Channel XT. It is, once again, it's available for VST3, AU, AAX. I think it's really versatile. Like I say, it's good for, if you want to use it for mastering, I think it's good for mastering. It's also really good for mixing. I could see this on a lot of, say, drum buses, even vocal buses. If you want to start to add some more warmth to your vocal, I think it'd be really good for that as well. And it kind of gives you lots of different options with that, as well as I like the standard EQ. I think the standard EQ is really good with that as well. So check it out. Got up until the 30th of June through Plugin Boutique, and yeah, I really think that will be a good option for a lot of people. If anyone does want any more information on the mixing and mastering critique service, have a look through the link that I left in the chat. So that's available through Fiverr.com. And if anyone does want to support the channel, once again, the links in the chat as well for buymeacoffee.com mastering ITB. Before we do finish, so I'll leave it just a little bit longer just to see if anyone else does want to ask any questions. But if not, just a few shout outs I want to mention. One of the big things about having a community, I really want Mastering the Box to be a community, but it's only fair to actually give some shout outs to people who I learn from. I'm learning all the time, and there are some wonderful people out there who are really good at teaching and giving advice and guidance. So there's a couple of shout outs I just want to mention too. First one is to the wonderful Johnny Lipsham. He is one of the guys over at Presonus, and he does a lot of the Studio One e-meets for the UK. Top bloke, does real good job with the organisation of the e-meets, and he's got his Studio One mixing and mastering tutorials Facebook group. So if you're using Studio One, make sure you check that out. And Johnny Lipscomb Studios channel on YouTube. Lots of different things relating to Studio One and songwriting. He does a lot of songwriting as well, so check that one out. Reaper, for all you Reaper guys out there, you must check out John's new video from the Reaper blog. Fresh Start Reaper 6 settings. Oh my god, that was an absolute revolution. There are certain things in there where he just sped up my workflow so much without even thinking about it. So one of the things, I can't remember the option now, but it's basically where you could start to use volume automation. So if you when you're using volume automation when it comes to mastering, you really want to hone in certain areas, and I didn't have it set up properly, and I was starting to add in, literally starting to add in little points and drag in, and it was just a faff. And he come up with this stock setting, and it's basically you click, drag, highlight, and then it kind of, you add this setting, this tip box, and you can just drag the volume automation down, and it only does that particular part of the clip. That alone was just amazing, and there was so many little kind of hints and tips where it just kind of really stream up the Reaper workflow. So check that one out. It's the Fresh Start Reaper 6 settings by John over at the Reaper blog. Great video, really worth checking that one out as well. Big shout out to Aria at IDDQD Sound. His new video series on scripting and Reaper is just amazing. I know Reaper has always been very, very customizable, and your custom actions and your toolbars and your screen sets, etc., and you can very much make it your own. But I didn't realise how far you can go with the scripting. You can effectively start to look at scripting in so many ways. And with the JS plugins, if you wanted to make your own plugins, you could do that. If you want to amend some of the JS plugins, you can do that. If there's particular features you want to do, you can really get into the nitty-gritty of the scripting. and Aria is doing a fantastic job there, and he's got a lot of live streams lined up regarding scripting and Reaper. So it's IDDQD Sound YouTube channel, check it out. And the last shout out is obviously to Mike over at Let's Talk About Reaper. He's been doing a fantastic job, not only on his YouTube channel, but he's with a few of the guys, he set up the Discord group, the unofficial Reaper users group on Discord, and check out his channel. He's got links in links to the Discord group on his channel. Let's Talk About Reaper, and it's really worth looking into. The Discord group is amazing. There's such a vast community now, lots of like-minded people who are. It's a community. There's no aggro. There's no arguing, there's no animosity, there's no stupid questions. It's a really nice place where you can go and just learn from lots of knowledgeable people. So once again, that's Mike Robinson over at Let's Talk About Reaper, who's got the unofficial Reaper users group Discord group, so check that one out as well. So that's it for today. So if there's still no questions coming through, obviously you lot have had too much to drink, or or I'm just really boring, which is probably more of the truth of the matter. But hey ho, if I'm talking to a screen for the evening, at least my missus has had an evening off without me rambling and boring her for the evening. So hope you all keep safe and well. I say I'll be doing these monthly. I hope you enjoy the live streams. I do enjoy doing them. There's lots more content lined up. As normal, if you want your song featured on the channel, please let me know. Drop me an email, smudge@masteringitb.com, and let's have a chat about how we can feature your song in the channel. We'll do some mastering and how I would approach it. Once again, if you want the Mix of the Master critiquing service, have a look on Fiverr.com. There's the link in the chat. And I'm very much open for business in terms of mastering. So if you want me to master your tracks, then get in touch, smudge@masteringitb.com, and let's have a discussion around how we can do your mastering of your tracks and bring your songs to life. So that's it. That's all from me. I hope you all keep safe and well, and I'll see you folks all in a future video.